definitely feel free to hit that like and subscribe button. Hitting that like button helps get the video out there. Hitting that subscribe button helps get the channel out there. And I'll leave a link in the description to HexJuice's video so you guys can play it and check it out for yourself. I'm only going to be watching roughly close to the end, just because this is where she really starts diving into her thoughts. But I do recommend you guys watch the first part of this video, just because it is fun watching her explore and experience what Natlan has to offer for someone like herself who is a returning player. So, with that being said, let's jump into this video.
Did you say that there's a thing to show me where it is? Oh, it does! Oh, they should have done that years ago. Why the f did that take so long? This game feels...
What you just found out there is that now with the Natlan update 5.0, you can like go into your resources, like for example with the plants and stuff, and hit a button, for lack of a better word, that will highlight on your map where that resource is, so you can just literally go and find it in that generalized area that it points you in. Whereas beforehand, you literally had to go and know where that shit is.
Outdated. And I feel like that's valid when you're playing like Liyue and Mondstadt, right? Because it is quite literally outdated then, right? Like it's not new, it's old. The way it feels outdated, despite the fact that this literally released last night, is like kinda crazy. It's like, it is partially like movement stuff, like traversal still feels the same as it did before, just with some extra shit, but it's the same in essence as it was before. I still have to teleport to like an adventurer's guild to collect all of my shit for my daily commissions. This should just be in the book. I shouldn't have to go somewhere. Like,
I do agree with that. I do 100% agree that they should do with like what Honkai Star Rail does, in that once you complete so many of the daily commissions or the daily quests, once you've done so many, it just gives you the rewards in total right from the book. Yes, does that make any sense narratively? No, but who gives a shit? Nobody wants to interrupt what they're doing at that moment to go see Catherine just to get the rest of the rewards. That's a pain in the ass and annoying. And that, in my opinion, to kind of comment on what HexJuice is saying, that, in my opinion, is what kind of makes the game kind of give out that vibe of outdated. Because, as I just stated, in Genshin, you had, and like HexJuice just stated, you had to go see Catherine to get the rest of your rewards. When we've played now Honkai Star Rail, Zenless Zone Zero, Wuthering Waves, that doesn't have that process. It just immediately gives you your total rewards for your daily activities, your daily missions, your commissions. So that is what kind of lends itself into that outdated feel. And I do agree to a certain extent that, especially when you go and do shit in Mondstadt or Liyue, or even as far as Inazuma, you are going to feel that sense of, oh, this is Genshin from back in the day, because those maps, those areas, there's really not been much changed about them. So you're going to get that feel of outdatedness. And that's why, for me personally, I typically only hang out in Sumeru, Fontaine, and now Natlan, just because I feel like those are areas that really kind of give you Genshin Impact the way it should be played today, so to speak.
Like, it's this kind of stuff where it's like, it's just very basic shit that is like just not changed. And I guess you can argue that it's like nitpicking and that the game is older, but at the same time, this area came out yesterday. And they did all these other QOL changes, which I personally find most of them to be a little bit half-assed. Not full measures, just half measures, you know? It's better, but not that much. They're doing all these QOL changes. Why not go all the way? Why?
And I see what she's saying. And this is where I kind of like start to kind of go really in depth with her opinion about the whole outdated or quality of life stuff, is that I do see where Natlan is supposed to kind of change how the game feels when it comes to how it plays. For example, the movement, like when you look at the new characters, Kachina, Mwilani, and then the new Dendro dude coming out in a little bit, Kanish, or however the hell you say his name, and then I've even seen the Visions of the Future. That character that's coming out later, the Geo lady, she looks really good too, based on my visions of the future. But these characters have insane movement, and they look like they are going to be really fun to play, especially with characters we got to play right now with Kachina and Mwilani. But their movement, their capabilities on when it comes to just traversal, you're only going to be able to fully appreciate that in Natlan. And so that in essence hinders the full enjoyment of the game, because there's only, like I said, 2 characters, and if you're not going to pull for Mwilani, you only get to play as Kachina, and that's going to limit how much you can enjoy playing the game when it comes to the movement updates when it comes to these specific characters.
I go halfway if the point is that you're trying to make people feel like you care. I think it's nice that they did some QOL. I think it is way too little and like way too late.
Yeah.
Obviously there's some that is like newer, right? It wasn't necessarily standard once upon a time. But the thing is at the same time, some of this is stuff that would have been standard and they just didn't do it. And now they're doing it now and it's like here. I think it's nice that you can skip to the new area rather than having to sit around and do all the other quests, because I'm gonna be real, like I would not have opened Genshin Impact, I would not have I would not have installed Genshin Impact today were it not for the fact that I can just skip to the new area and I don't have to deal with like going through all of the other story, like Archon quests and stuff. That's a good QOL for new players. For old players, what was legitimately added for you? Like
for old players like myself, yes, the updates are, I'm only going to notice like a handful of the improvements. And a lot of those are just, and this kind of goes to my overall issue with Genshin at the moment, is that a lot of those improvements are just limited to Natlan. If we were to go look at Fontaine, we're not going to see many of those updates other than the world level increase with the enemies getting a little bit stronger and the materials dropping a little bit extra. That's it. And that kind of goes back to the earlier point. If we compare Natlan to Mondstadt, Liyue, Inazuma, it's night and day. It's absolutely night and day how these areas are going to feel, just because the devs don't really care about going back and updating past areas. And don't get me wrong, I love innovation. I love optimization. That's one thing that we've been bitching about when it comes to Genshin Impact for the longest time, is they have just failed to innovate and optimize their game for the longest time, and only doing just very minor improvements, or just borderline dumb shit that no one ever asked for the longest time. That kind of goes to what she just said there, though. It feels a lot like too little, too late. Like, yes, you guys are finally doing what we've been asking for, but you just decided now to finally do it.
Like what was added that of benefit, legit only the artifact thing? It's 2 per patch, but 1 is locked behind the battle pass. Yeah, that's still ass. We understand that 2 per patch of something that was supposed to be a massive QOL benefit, and 1 of them is locked behind the battle pass, is still mega ass. So if you're free to play, you get 1 per patch, and then you can get 1 more via the premium version of the battle pass. There was simultaneously all of this uproar about the you know.
Okay, and yes, there it is. The artifact thing it was such a really good change and such an amazing improvement to add to the game, but only limiting it to 1 to 2 per patch, depending on how far you go with the battle pass. So free-to-play players are completely fucked because they only have 1, and here's the catch. And this is what I don't think the devs thought of. You can get that 1, but there's still RNG that you have to fight. Let's say you're trying to get a timepiece, and you pick attack for the main stat. You pick crit rate and crit damage for the 2 substats, because of course. And then Lady Luck decides to fuck you in the ass and pick defense base and defense percentage as your 2 other substats. And then all the others, like all those bumps in the stats, whenever you're upgrading it, all go into the defense stats. Not a single one goes into the crit rate, crit damage. And that's where you get fucked. Because that can happen. I've had that happen. I've literally had that happen. Where the upgrade, the bonus, the stat bumps all go into everything but crit rate and crit damage. So that's the thing. You can use that artifact thing that you get from the battle pass, and you can get absolutely fucked over. Honkai Star Rail's even gone to the point where when it comes to their little artifact thing that helps you out, you can get it from the store, not the in-game store, but the store that's tied to the in-game content with Memory of Chaos and Pure Fiction and Apocalyptic Shadow. Like, you can get one of their artifact things from that NPC, and it's great. There are so many ways to go about getting their version of the artifact thing that helps you out that it's great. And like, it goes back to, why is it that the Honkai Star Rail team can get everything right when it comes to their quality of life, but Genshin Impact, even when they try, they still fuck it up and still want to be stingy.
The culture smoothie shit that they're doing and the boycotts and all that other stuff. But there was simultaneously a lot of glazing for all of the insane QOL they're finally bringing to the game because of Woo-Wah. The QOL is not that insane. It's not that insane, and it's not that much. And it's not good. And it still pales in comparison even to their other games. They did QOL to fix shit in Genshin that is worse than HSR on release for some of this shit. Acting like this is insane, like revolutionary, like they've totally changed the game and made it so much better is crazy. I'm just not impressed. And it's like, okay, cool. Standard 5-star. Who gives a f about a standard 5-star in 2024 in Genshin Impact other than like new players? And also, most people don't use the standard 5-stars because they kind of suck ass. So weird to act like this patch in this new area gave us like so much QOL.
Yes. And even I was saying that in my reaction video when it comes to the 5.0 live stream, is the big issue with the 5-star selector is it is the embodiment of too little too late. And we're talking way too little, way too late. And the biggest thing and the biggest reason for that is power creep. The standard 5-stars just do not have a chance when it comes to being compared to the event 5-stars, especially the ones that have been coming out recently. D-Luke has no chance of competing with Arlecchino. Mona is only decent when it comes to nuke teams. Dia is only good if you get her to C1 or C2, but if you're rocking a C0 Dia, you're rocking a very ass Dia. Jean's actually okay, especially when it comes to the new Valette Fiorina team. Jean is actually excellent in that team. Kaching is alright in Hyperbloom, but just in Hyperbloom because Chlorine is actually taking Kaching's spot when it comes to Aggravate. And Chi-Chi is the absolute worst healer and worst character in the game. So if you look at all these characters I just listed that are standard 5-star characters, they all have either been absolutely power crept to the point where they're ass, or they only really fit one particular role, and that's it. And that's the thing. This was a case of the 5-star selector being just way too little, way too late. When there are other games that are doing it better.
Like, I just don't get it. I would have rather gotten just Primo Gems. And maybe that's just because I'm getting annoyed at how much I'm having to listen to these motherfuckers yap. This is pretty poggers, actually. Standing on top of the dinosaur's head was wild. This is the insane changes that they made to the game. Because they so desperately needed to do this for the players because they've been so terrible. This made him cry. I'm gonna be real. I was actually excited to get into this today, and I really wanted to enjoy this. I don't know if I'm like on hater right now. That was not my intention of playing today. I just wanted to see what it was like. But it's like, I'll be honest, didn't expect much, and somehow I'm still kind of disappointed. It also is like, I don't understand why you would make a gacha game marketed towards kids, because kids don't have any money. Kids are broke. They don't have jobs. They're freeloaders. You know what it is? Is like, I kind of wanted to see why people still love this game so much. And since I could skip to the new area, I was like, oh, I can experience like the newest and best of what Genshin has, you know? And then maybe I can like understand why people defend this game the way they do. And I'm gonna be real, I understand it less than I ever have. I don't know how to feel about this game. I think I still don't like it.
But I'm going to get into my thoughts, my opinion. Because obviously I do hear and definitely see HexJuice's point of view, as I've just laid out, that I totally get where she's coming from. But overall, right now, in my personal opinion, when it comes to what I've experienced so far in the new Natlan update, is I'm so far mixed. Do I see the benefit of some of the quality of life changes they made? Yeah, when it comes to the resource collector thing, that's pretty good. When it comes to how they're planning on designing these new characters, I think it's really good. When it comes to the Night Soul thing, when it comes to, and honestly, this is kind of weird, when it comes to like the gameplay mechanics, I think they're on the right track to making the game fun from a gameplay perspective. With the whole Night Soul thing, it's interesting stuff. But when it comes to like everything else that's come before, that's where they're going to kind of fall apart. And I understand those are older areas. Let's focus on the new areas. Yes, I get it. But if I were, and this is the thing, and I've seen this firsthand, if I take those characters, the new Natlan characters, and I take them literally anywhere else, they fall short, because their buffs when it comes to their movement only works in Natlan. So they're going to feel kind of average or okay when it comes to their movement abilities anywhere else but Natlan. And this is where I think that the Genshin devs need to start thinking about how they want to make at least some of the older areas feel better. Because honestly, if I go anywhere else, if I go to Mondstadt, if I go to Liyue, I'm better off just running around with my C1 Yelan and just sprinting everywhere. That is literally how I'm kind of viewing it right now when it comes to movement and traversal. But inside Natlan, those characters' traversal is excellent. And then when it comes to the story, I'm actually so far enjoying the story. The story is actually really, really good. There are moments where it does feel like a yap fest. I'm not gonna glaze over that. There are moments where it feels like a yap fest, and there have been a couple moments where I've wanted Paimon to shut the fuck up. That is true. That's still true, but overall, the gist of the story is really good. We're not focusing too much on the presence of NPCs. That's always been a complaint of mine when it comes to Genshin Impact storytelling, is that they put too much importance on NPCs sometimes. And then animations and cinematics. Excellent. The fight between Kachina and Milani was absolutely excellent. And the fight between Mavrika, I think I'm saying her name, the Pyro Archon, and El Capitino, that was a badass fight. So they're killing it when it comes to cinematics and animations. They're killing it for the most part when it comes to the Archon quest. Like I said, there are moments where you want Paimon to shut the fuck up. But overall, do I see improvements? Yes. But do I feel like there needs to be more improvements? 100%. One thing we got to understand is that Genshin Impact is a game that for nearly 4 years, the Genshin devs were complacent and they just rode on the success of the launch of the game for as long as they could because they had no competition to drive them whatsoever. That is the one thing we got to remember, is that a lot of these updates are probably going to feel like too little too late. And honestly, I can definitely agree to that. So the Genshin devs do need to play catch up. If they were going to make Genshin Impact a game that people are going to actually seriously want to play passionately. Right now, from what I've experienced so far in Genshin, is that when it comes to quality of life stuff, Honkai Star Rail still has them beat. Wuthering Waves is still competing with them. And Zenless Zone Zero is pretty much doing just as good. And here's another thing. Was the World Level 9 thing a great improvement? Absolutely. I loved World Level 9. And was even the resource bump on top of that good too? Absolutely. But again, that's too little too late. Am I liking World Level 9? Absolutely. But should that have been a thing a long time ago? Yes. Because part of what I lost enjoyment in was just literally slapping the shit out of enemies and they instantly dying. Now the enemies take a few extra hits before they die. That's cool. I like that. So that's really the conclusion here, is that the Genshin devs still have a lot to play catch up on. And I want to see them continue to strive to make the game better. There are many more quality of life updates that they need to look at before people start saying, yes, Genshin Impact is a good game. But that's where I'm at the moment. I still haven't beat the Archon's quest. I still have a little bit more left to do on the Archon quest. And I'm also going to keep a lookout for other people's thoughts on this update for Genshin Impact. For example, I'm going to be keeping a lookout if Imtashed ever does a video or if Tectone does a video, because I'm definitely want to catch their opinions as people who have been jaded by Genshin Impact. But those are my thoughts currently when it comes to playing the game. Like I said, I still have a little bit more to go, but definitely head down to the comments and let me know what you guys are thinking of Genshin Impact. If you guys are playing Genshin Impact, are you guys enjoying the Natlan update? Are you guys enjoying the new characters? Let me know what you guys are thinking. And with that being said, definitely hit that like and subscribe button. Hitting that like button helps get the video out there. Hitting that subscribe button helps get the channel out there. It helps us grow it. So if you guys can hit that like and subscribe button, I greatly appreciate it. And with that being said, thank you guys for watching, and I'll catch you guys later.